Right, today I'm going to show you how to unlock an iPhone 3G. This one is showing no service. It'll be locked to O2, and at the moment on the settings it shows 051504 on the modem firmware. So we're going to change that to an iPad one, then we're going to downgrade the iPad one, and then we're going to install Ultrasnow, which will unlock it. So first thing we need to do is, on the computer, we need to open up Red Snow. For the 3G I use 0914 Beta 2 because the latest one doesn't actually support the iPhone 3G very well. So first thing we need to do is go to Extras, select iPhone firmware, and select the iPhone firmware that applies to your phone. This one is 4.2.1, which this is what the phone's on. So it's identified that firmware. Then we select jailbreak. And we want to install the iPad baseband, and we want to install Cydia. So go to next. Then we put the phone into DFE mode, which is 10 seconds of the power and the home button pressed together, and then 10 seconds of the home button pressed on its own. Right, so now it's starting up the jailbreak. Now it's installed all the information. And sometimes, especially on an iPhone 3G, because it's quite an old phone now, it does take quite a while for this to go through. A bit longer than what it would on one of the newer phones that's a bit quicker. this is a bit where it's changing that code that we looked at, where it was 051504. This part of the jailbreak will actually change that to 061500, which is an iPad baseband but an unlockable one through Cydia. We need to install that first to be able to actually downgrade it to an unlockable iPhone one. The reason we downgrade it is, one, if you update the phone, you'll run into issues. If it's got an iPad baseband installed, you'll end up with an error 1015. And two is because the GPS on the phone won't work properly if you have the iPad baseband installed. So when you try and use maps, it won't work correctly. So, but we need to go up to the iPad one first before we can actually downgrade it again. So as soon as this is installed and that's worked, then we'll actually downgrade it back again, and it'll go to 051304. Right, so when this starts up again, that baseband should have been changed, and we should also have Cydia on the phone as well. Right. So we're going to the settings, general, about, and as you can see, the modem firmware is 061500. And another thing as well, if we look on the usage at the moment, there's no battery percentage option, but I'm also going to install a battery percentage option, which I can do with the jailbreak. So we'll go back on here and we'll select that firmware again. I always select it every time I redo something. So go back and we'll select jailbreak again. Right, we don't need to install Cydia again. We will downgrade the iPad baseband and we will enable the battery percentage. And I think we'll actually enable the home screen wallpaper as well. We won't enable multitasking because on an iPhone 3G it's just not, the memory and everything is just not up to it, so it'll struggle to keep up if you try and do something like that. So yeah, I think we've got everything ticked we need there. So again, we put it into DFU mode. Right, and you'll end up with a screen like this. Right, it should hopefully run a bit quicker this time because it's already done some of the work. Right, now for some reason I'm going to have to run that through again because it didn't activate and it didn't flash the baseband. So I'm going to shut Red Snow down and then I'm going to restart it. I do sometimes find this happens when you're doing these unlocks and jailbreaks. It's not going to brick your phone or anything, but sometimes it doesn't always work first time, so you do have to persevere with it a little bit. So I'll just select my firmware because I can do that now anyway. Okay. Right, do a jailbreak. Right, so we'll downgrade. We won't install Cydia. We will do that. Right, so we need you do sometimes get a white screen when you're doing this as well, but it'll disappear fairly fast. can see it's going to work properly this time, because this time it's saying activating, which it didn't do last time. So the next stage will be flashing the baseband again. Should be downgrading it, and we should be good to go. Right, so when we restart, we should have the correct baseband that we want. See if I can move this round so you can see a bit better. Right. So there you can see 051304. So I've changed the baseband to the right one. Now we go to Cydia. User. I'm just going to connect to my Wi-Fi. There'll probably be a few changes that I need to make to Cydia because the version of Red Snow that this has come from is quite old, so there'll probably be a few updates that have been brought in since this Cydia was released. Right, so I'm going to come back out of there. I'll get it to reload. Right, so select Manage, Sources, Dev Team, Ultra Snow. Then we install Ultra Snow. Confirm. I'm just going to get my SIM card put in. So remember, this phone should be on O2, and I'm putting an orange SIM in. There we go. That's how you unlock your phone.